to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream for YouTube and Ustream, and I'm carrying on in the Colin Thompson colouring in book with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a little bit of pages left to colour in the Colin Thompson. I've heard it pronounced fantastique, but it's spelt fantastic, and it's Colin Thompson's fantastic colouring book. Sorry, I'm working with my tablespoon of water in a little pot, a wide lid, and a little pot. And this way of working, you don't waste any paint. But the 3 paintbrushes that I've started to prefer: a number 3 rigger, a number 1, and a 3 excuse me, a 30. And they're really bendy, so there's no pressure on your fingers. Oh, thank you for that. Brilliant. I hope everybody can see. I'm not going to show what I'm going to do that little bear. Oh dear, excuse me, quick slip of tea. Oh, to serve them as rules, that's rusks. Wait a minute, that's tennis then, isn't it? So that's a tennis ball. Oh no, beg your pardon, this is all dolls again, isn't it? But it would be a tennis ball. All the little sections are all books to do with whatever creatures he's put in the sections. He's very clever. It's very clever. And they're all puns, as my daughter would say, or a play on words, are the books. Now, I've had to kind of stroke this down quite a lot to get a really good crease because it's the first page. But really impressed with the quality. So I've taken my goggles off now. So if you need anything, Little Bear is the best Brit. Little Bear is the best Brit. So I've got the little brown bear. I haven't got around the edges with the brown yet, so I've got that to do. So I shall start colouring, and I'm going to pick the books off. If it's got difficult, like under here, I've left this because you've got to kind of fiddle around. So I pull that down there very carefully. I can't see if I'm in frame, but hopefully I am. So I'm going to pick those 2 off there. And you'll have to forgive me, I've been slurping tea and I've just got a wire dangling, which is not quite good, is it? Right, so again, I'm just dunking once into there, scraping that off. So there's quite a lot of water on there, it's saturated. And then I'm just taking a damp baby wipe or a wet wipe and just stroking some of the dampness out. So now that is damp. It's not wet, but it's damp. Depends on your climate though. I think I've got 6 lights around, so what I do is I dunk straight away, twist the brush to a point, and then straight away go for the colour, because if you leave that to dry out too much, you need a little bit of dampness. I mean, I'm squeezing there and there's a tiny little bit of dampness. But you don't want too much because this is dry watercolouring, and that enables you to manipulate the paint without using too much water. So have you got a thing about teddies, Dorothy? Yeah, I must admit I'm a bit of a bear girl, have to say. So I'm going to use this, but so again, these are just scribbled onto sketchbook paper and just activating the colour, which is on the end, and a very quick kind of just definitely what I want, and then we go in down the side. I do try to move up and down. Now the Inktense don't move as nicely as the others, have to say. The Derwent watercolours are absolutely wonderful to work with. They are forgiving, they are so easy. But the Inktense, I love the Inktense for the colours. It's a little bit more fiddly, if that's the word. It's just that little bit more this is a more stronger colour, so you've just got to be that bit more with it kind of thing. But that's quite okay. I can go back in there later if I want. I'm tending not to do that. I'm tending to just leave them as they are. So flicking back to the Derwent pencils, there's probably have, I might do a purple next to that one. So this one is Deep Violet number 24. I quite like that one, and that's going to do a purple and a pink together, which I don't normally do, but again, a little bit quick to look and think that's not too bad. And then this is the difference. This is the Derwent watercolor pencil, and as you can see, I can manipulate that for quite a long time, a lot longer than I could with the ink tens. But as you see, they're still lovely colours. You wouldn't think one is an ink tense Derwent pencil and the other one is a Derwent watercolour pencil. The watercolour pencils from Derwent are fab. The pigment in them is wonderful, have to say. And scribbling them on a little bit of paper like this, you've got the scale of colour, so I can have a real pale or I can have a deeper one. And you can manipulate the colour, full control, to build up some nice highlights and leave the highlights and build up some nice lowlights. And I really enjoy working with them. They are really, really easy to use. Oh, welcome Musical Scrapper to Bunny's Designs, darling. Welcome everybody. Bit of a squinty girl today because I've taken my glasses off and I've had them on all day. So I'm still colouring in on the Colin Thompson colouring in book. So I've got a little brown bear there. Now in the Derwent pencils, I am zoomed in quite a lot. So try not to make everybody sick, but there are some really gorgeous browns and fawns and greys. There's about 12. And so you've got some really nice cottagey colours, and you've got some burnt siennas and raw siennas. So I think the little bear could be brown ochre number 57, because that, and I should just have a little bit of a test. Oh yes, I think that's going to be a nice little bear colour. So if I give him a very gentle all over wash, sometimes if you work the other way it would be darker and it's going lighter, so you could work the other way. You could tip your paintbrush, your paper round. What did I say? Burnt brown ochre 57. That is going to be quite dark, and then behind there is quite dark. And then what this does, it's working very similar but opposite to the chameleon pens. So every time I stroke I get lighter. Whereas every time you stroke you get darker with the chameleons, and that's given no shading, no blending, just using the dampness to dilute the colour. And again, absolutely no pressure on your finger, which I love. And that's almost dry, I can touch that. Love working like this. There's just, it's such a really easy way. So I could go back into there, but I quite like my little bear. Quite like how it's turned out. So I'm going to leave him, I think, and I'm going to go for another colour. So we've got some greens and blues here. That's a little bit bright, but we can live with that. So that's 101 inoculations. Sometimes if I see something written on the book, I'll think, oh, well, that's going to be a green or a brown or something. So I think we're going to have a sap green, I think. Again, I just flick the colour I want, tease a little tiny bit of colour on the end, and all that's damp. And then if I really want to test, I can just... And that's a lovely, and these, as I say, these watercolours are just beautiful to go down. And especially this way, you have a lot of control. So that being in the dark, I can build up a really nice shadow if I want. I could switch to a smaller paintbrush, but I can just tease a little bit of colour into there. So there's lots of things you can do to build up some very nice highlights and lowlights. And I can get rid of it if I want and have a completely flat area. So there's a lot of versatility. They were a little bit pricey for the full set, but this way of working is, as I say, it's just absolutely amazing. So not brilliant, but it's okay. This is it's not a work of art. So I'm going to put a nice highlight into there, and I've kind of left them all yellow, so I'm going to have some continuity. So I've been using the deep cadmium number 6, but I've changed, because that's like a really lovely warm, like almost like a candle light, and that's called gold number 3. And so I kind of just going to stroke that into there, and hopefully I'm still in frame. And I'm very conscious of the fact that because the camera is really next to me, I'm trying to whisper, so my voice could get maybe a little bit more drony than normal. So I do apologise. But quite like that then. So that's kind of lit that space up. And again, you can, if you have to shut the book if you're in hospital, there's no trouble about anything smudging or anything. So I think that's a little onion. So I'll flick carefully, with hopefully not to make you too sick, to some oniony colours. I do like that brown ochre again, but I've got the bear as a brown ochre, but he does look a bit of an onion colour. I think I'll just have a quick look at sienna, see what that does. No, it's quite nice, is that? But I'm going to go in with this. You see, I've got this colour on here now, and I hate to waste paint. So I'm going to colour this one in, because I can't waste paint, and I've got it on here now. So I'm just going to give that colour. Actually, that would have been quite nice for the onion. So because that's quite pale, I'm going to do that again. So that was raw sienna, I think, wasn't it, number 58? And I've done exactly the same thing again, but I think I can just about get away with it. And again, because I didn't wet the paintbrush like I said I should have done, it's dried up on me. It is a quick way of working if you're using that. So I'm going back to the middle-sized brush, and again, just all I'm doing is just reactivating that little corner, and then just stroking that colour. And of course, it's going to have a darker tummy, and then that's going to be like an onion, and then the top's always a little bit kind of darker, and then that's teasing some pale colour out. So you wouldn't think that first nose that's really deep would be the same, but it is. And if I want to go back in, I can go reactivate a little bit more and just give that a little bit of darkness, and that also lends itself to some light coming that way. Not sure about the hands, might have to think about that one. I did say I wasn't going to do the mushrooms, the onions and things. I was going to do all the books first, but you get carried away. It's such fun that you just want to colour things as they pop into your head. I think I'll do a blue one behind him. I think the jade green could be a little bit bright. I mean, there are some gorgeous bright greens, but I'm going to use this one. And you can see the ones I've used the most. The juniper green number 42 is going to be a nice colour. And I've realised that I have a green there as well. So I'm going to skip a book and put it here. And this is the smaller brush because there's a little bit of detail around here. So I'm going to go back to the bigger brush. Sorry, puppy's trotting around doing whatever he's doing. And that's quite nice, and that's going to show that little mushroom, the little onion up quite nice. Sorry, the puppy's having a wander. And I can just keep going with this to create some quite nice shadows if I wanted to. There'd be some nice shadows under here as well. And you can build the colour up to a real deeper colour if you wanted. That seems to be quite nice. Probably should have done it with a smaller brush, but there's a little bit of shadow there. Can everybody see that? Is everybody happy with that? So welcome to Bunny's Design. Sorry if I've missed anybody that's popped in. Thank you for joining me. So excited. I'm up to 98 subscribers on YouTube. How amazing is that? So I'm going to have a little bit of a giveaway. So I found a couple of watercolour books which I really like. So I love the quality and I can post them anywhere. So I might have to do that. But it's okay. You want some little boots. I might put in some little red boots. So again, I have to swap to the little tiny. Yes, you see, green boots would have been better, but I made a green book. But it's not to worry. I'm not particularly afraid of that. I'm going to give him some little red boots, number 19, Madder Carmine, which I love. And then again, stroking just gently that lovely deep red into there. So I am a bit obsessive about my book, I have to say. I'm not sure whether to give him a pink hand or a red hand. I think I'd like, really sorry, Wandering Puppy. I think I'm just going to darken those boots a little bit because he's obviously nearly a cartoon. So, and that's the bigger brush, and then that's the other brush. So I need to do that little book there. And I think I'm going to do that one. I need a colour. So again, I just kind of flick through. Probably an orange would be nice as well. Scarlet Lake looks quite nice. It's a little bit bright. It's a little bit bright, but I think that would be nice. So am I still in frame? Yes. So just very gently stroke that colour in. And if it's the wrong colour, I can always go over the top with something else if I want to. Seem to have got a bit of a shadow on there. So. And then the other thing is I can just really get some colour in that top corner and make a really nice shadow behind the little onion, so he's kind of building that colour up. I don't know what the puppy's doing, I really apologise. There's a little bit of shadow behind him. Let me have a look and see what's happening. So there's some steps which lend themselves to a very pale fawn colour. I've just found number 16, which is Flesh Pink, and it's a very pale colour. So I quite like the idea of just giving them a little bit of colour without too much. So the stairs will be the same. Oh, there's a rattle there. Now I think that's wood, but those are wooden beads, so they could be some really bright colours there. Not sure, but I quite like that one actually. I didn't give it a lot of colour, and it's going to be behind a brown, so I could leave that one. think I might leave that one. Let me just have a quick flick this side very quickly. It was the raw sienna, but if I really get some colour on there, that's the true colour of the onion. So you can really see how much control you have when you scribble these little squares of colour. You wouldn't think that this is the same colour as the little onion. The raw sienna number 58. I'll probably leave that until welcome Lynn, welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream for YouTube and Ustream. I'm just playing in my little watercolour book in my Colin Thompson Fantastique, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but you'll have to bear with me. So that looks like it's an open book, so that's going to be a bit complicated. So I'm going to go back into this corner here. And that says Pine View, so I'm going to do that green. That one's The Wind in the Willows. The Willows. And there's a tiny little door there. If you can see that little tiny door. So I'm going to, I think I want this green here, which is Cedar Green number 50. That's quite a nice, deep, dark olive. So I hope I'm in frame. And I didn't have a play because I didn't test the colour because I know what this one is and I do quite like it, I have to say. I've used it on quite a few colours, quite a few books, and I like this colour. And so just stroking the colour in. And because that's the grayscale's been done for you, it kind of just lends itself to just having a little bit of a shade. Just bear with me 2 seconds. Yes, it says The Wind in the Willows, but this little man, he changes the names of the books. So this is The Wind in the Willows. It's not loaves. There is a loaf somewhere. 101 inoculations, 3 men in a cot, Baby Jane, to serve them all my rusks. The 2 toddlers of Verona. Oh, sorry, you can't see these. They're very funny. Very funny. This is, do you want me to do a flick through? It's on one of the other videos. It's the Colin Thompson colouring book, and he calls it Fantastique, and it's by Ravensburger. It's a jigsaw as well, if I can really be careful without making anybody sick. Try to do this very carefully. They're puzzle designs, so you can actually do, I won't be able to focus on them. They're jigsaw puzzles as well, so they would be fantastic. There's 8 pages like this. So I've zoomed in. I spent a couple of days doing a practice because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do the muted colours, bright colours, and again I made a mistake there because I thought that was the cliff and it isn't, that sky. I made a bit of a faux pas there. Too dark, but some of the things I quite liked. Some of the colours I decided I didn't want to use, like the bright purples. Didn't really like the bright purples and the bright greens, so I decided to go with some mottled colours. I'm trying not to make everybody sick. It is the first page, so I've kind of creased it, but that's one of the pages, one of the little bookshelves. I'll pan out when I've finished. They're good quality of the Ravensburger as well. When I was a kid, you know, you had the jigsaws that you used to bend as you pull them apart. So what I've been doing is basically, I finished this page, but on this side, I'm just picking out the books first. Oh, I did get a bit carried away and did the bear and the onion. But I was trying to pick the books out first and then going back in with, but it was such a nice day in the summer. A couple of days ago in England, we had a sunny day. And so I kind of just sat and just really enjoyed myself. So I'm trying not to make everybody too sick. So I'm using my little book of colours, and basically I'm just playing with the Derwent watercolour pencils that I scribbled into colours, because that gives you a lot more control over how you can use this dry way of working, but it gives you some nice watercolour effects. So I'm trying to use an extra piece of paper here just to give a little bit of practice. Because this says Lady Chatterley's Alder, and it says Pine View, I wanted that to be quite a dark green. So, but I put a green on that one now as well. So I could do a darker green. I haven't got two greens together. And there's a bottle green, which is quite nice here. So all I'm doing is, the mineral green is a little bit too bright. So I'm taking my number 3 rigger damp and then just stroking the pencil scribble. And that gives me a lot of control. And just to make sure, I just do a little bit of a tester. And as I say, these watercolours are lovely to work with. You have so much control, especially using them this way. There's a lot of control. Not really sure I like this green. I think it's the wrong green, but never mind, I can change it. I can go over it with a deeper colour if I really don't like it. But I just stroke the colour in, and the paintbrush does all the work. And you can just manage to get quite a nice low light down there, where that book would be touching the other book. And then on the top, because again thinking about that book's overlapping that book, that would be quite dark as well. And if you're not happy with the highlight, you can just kind of take it away. Oh, welcome everybody. So we've got Janet, Lynn, Colin, Gillian, Jean, Emma, anybody else that I've missed? Welcome to Bunny's Designs. I'm still playing in my Colin Thompson colouring in book. I quite like the mineral green. I'm just going to have a bit of a test. Yeah, I'm going to use the mineral green, which is number 45, sorry. And I'm just going to gently stroke some colour into these trees. And it will eventually get paler and paler. So on the other side, there won't be very much. The colour doesn't seem to be that great at the moment. Bear with me 2 seconds, see if I can get the colour slightly better. It was quite nice the other day, but I played with it a bit and it didn't like it. So let me take that off. That makes a difference, I think. So if I just put gently that in the way. Yes, that's nearer the colour, so we could be a little bit better. So I hope I haven't, Colin, welcome Colin everybody. Hope I haven't left anybody out. This is I'm recording this on YouTube, but it's a live stream with live bodies, having a natter, which is wonderful. I love everybody having a natter. I think it's amazing. So I'm using this 45 mineral green and just kind of stroking the colour. And if I want to put some more colour in, I could do. And it's really easy and pain-free, which I love. I could put a little bit of a kind of a deeper green into there, I think. I mean, there's no reason why I can't touch another green into there as well, but I just kind of wanted to play a little bit. I think I maybe get a little bit more green into that if I could just. I'm colouring with my little Derwent watercolours. They are the Derwent watercolour pencils that I scribbled into squares in my little book. So for every pencil, I have got about 10 shades, and there's 72 pencils there. So I've got a scale of colour. So if I really go into the corner, I can get the proper colour from the end of the pencil. But if I just take some colour, I have a lot more colours, shades of colour out of that little book. And I like working like that. It's so much easier. It just lends itself to be a little bit better. If you bear with me 2 seconds, I'm just trying to get a digi bit more colour without going too mad, because that's a very dark grey. So if I put the purple, just bear with me 2 seconds, and that's a very pale. Yes, that's nearer the colour. Is that okay for everybody? Is everybody okay with that? So I'm still trying to see chat without the glasses. So I love, as I say, I just so love this way of working. It's so easy. So that's given that green there. So I'm still on number mineral green. And then I can go in with the finer brush, the number 1 rigger, and flick through my hundreds of colours very carefully so I don't make you sick, and find a nice brown. So the Van Dyke brown's quite nice, but I like the raw umber. I do quite like some of these colours. Does that show the darker brown? Sorry, puppy alert, he's going in and out, wandering around. I don't really need to test it because it's a tree, so I'm just going to stroke in a little bit of colour. But I'm going to leave the bottom because what I've been doing is using the, I progressed to put a little bit of a pan, a watercolour pan, and I cut the bottom of it out and put it in my little book with some, I just stuck them in. This one's come loose actually, but it's the pan of a Winsor & Newton watercolour pan, and I've just cut a couple of millimetres off the bottom and stuck them into my book. So if I tip it like this, you can see these are like little shards of a couple of millimetres of a pan of colour. So that is pure pigment. So really, because I've got the 6 colours, the 2 reds, 2 blues and 2 yellows, there isn't a colour I can't make on this little plastic pocket that I put up this side. So I'm using the burnt umber because it's a gorgeous dark colour, and that's giving a uniform effect to all around the shelves. There's a little bookshelf or a little wooden shelf all the way around. So that's the one that's unifying it all together. And I've done something to chat. I'm not sure what I've done. Bear with me 2 seconds. If that made any sense. Oops, I don't know what I've done with that. So can everybody see? Oh, that's a bit blurry, that, isn't it? That's the better colour, I think. So that's what I'm doing. So I've kind of just given that a little bit of brown, because when I touch this one, the intention is, but I can do it now, is to just very gently, without making everybody sick, I can stroke this colour, which is just like using a pan, and I can take this and just have a bit of a test, and then I can stroke this colour up into there so it's morphed naturally. And that was my intention. If I go behind that, that's going to give that a nice highlight. And I can go over this and kind of give highlights and lowlights. So that's why I wanted to kind of morph that into there. Did everybody see that? Or did I just do that off camera? Sorry. I think there's some green fields behind there. So I'm just going to do this tall book next. So if you have any, oh, thank you for that, everybody. You'll have to bear with me. My remembering people's real names drives me insane. So hopefully I'm in frame for that one. And that's what I'm just doing, is flicking the pages over. I normally mix everything up, but this time, because of this particular book, I'm just using my Derwent ink tents and my Derwent watercolour pencils, but I am using them from a scribbled square, a paper palette. I'm not using from the pencil, because you would get a lot stronger colour from the paper. And the pencils have been out twice. Sorry, I tell a lie, they've been out once. I think I've re-scribbled a couple of colours. Again, not quite sure of that, how orange that is. Just had a bit of... And if I stop talking, it's quite fast way of working as well. So this is number 12, which is Scarlet Lake. And again, you can just do a flat colour and then just build up a little bit of a highlight. And the next one is the Old Beach. So a beach colour could be quite fancy. And this is all I do. I just flick through. And I do like the number 28. This is a nice deep purpley blue. So again, just a bit of a test, thinking that that would look quite nice next to that one. But I'm not really doing too much thinking about colour. I'm just flicking through and thinking, oh yes, I'm not going to put 3 greens together, but I suppose you could do. If there were 3 books that looked like it was a set, I would do them the same colour. But I do like the muted colours, and I really tried hard not to look at any of the colours in Colin Thompson's original coloured, because this is from a book. And again, I've got some nice little highlights there, but if I didn't want them, I can get rid of them. And as I said, I am so mesmerised by just gently teasing this colour around. The Derwent watercolour pencils are very easy to move about. The ink tents are not quite as easy, because once they are dried, I need to swap to a smaller brush, number 1 rigger, because they obviously, once they are activated with water, they are not supposed to be, they're supposed to be steadfast, they're supposed to be fast. Having said that, I've got them in my little book and I just scribble over the top. But this book only works because I work dry. If you could do a few washes if you wanted, but most of the time I work quite dry. And I can put my finger on that, and it's damp, but there's nothing. And then use the little tiny rigger, the 3 or the 30, and then really try to get a really nice shadow under there, because obviously that's the end of the book, isn't it? I mean, you can build up a bit of shadow under there as well if you wanted, because that's going to be quite dark. But I'm just, I don't know what, oh sorry, it's the wrong dog. It's not the puppy. I don't know what happened to the puppy. I don't think he electrocuted himself. I think he just kind of knocked something and it frightened him. I think that would be quite dark down there because she's in a shadow, so I quite like that. That looks like it's the tree kind of shadow there. So you can build up some really nice shadows and shades, or you can just colour them flat. Again, I kind of like playing about with colour and just creating a couple of nice highlights. And of course under there, because that's that book sticking out, that's going to be quite dark under there. I'm going to just have to move. Oh, he sat on it, it's fine. Somebody's put a bag in his way. So if anybody's got any questions, pop them in caps. Keep popping my glasses on so I can see. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream. Hopefully I'm in frame. Been trying to build up a little bit of a shadow in that area. The green is a little bit darker here, but it's fine. It's fine. So we've got a couple of greens and an orange, and it's dry that now. It's not going to go anywhere. This is fab for hospitals. That the nurse calls your name, you can be there for 3 hours, you shut the book and you go. Brilliant. And you know you're not going to damage the book. Whereas if you had all your paints out, it would take you a while. So I'm going to do that one. I don't know what colour I'm going to do that one. That's always going to be brown. So I could possibly have this purpley, this number 65 carmine, burnt carmine. And again, if I slide this very carefully across, I've labelled them and I'm just activating the corner. And that's the strongest colour and that's the palest. And then very carefully, a bit of a test. And then just go in there and stroke the colour down. And then just activate the colour again, and then just kind of get some really nice dark shadows under there. And again, you could do the tree if you wanted. You could do the tree. Or you could just think, well, I've got a little bit of a shadow there. That would be very, very dark. And then this would be dark. And that's dark, and that's dark. And that kind of makes that slightly rounded. so you know that's a rounded spine of a book. And again, if this was traditional watercolours, you'd have to leave this for a few minutes. You couldn't go back to it. Sorry, you'd have to go back to it. You couldn't play there and then go straight back to it. You'd have to leave it. And again, there's nothing there at all, completely dry. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with this page, I have to say. But there's another book there, so that could be, what colour could I do that? You see, I have to look around at the other colours. So we have some really nice colours here. I think I could do a deep chrome or an orange chrome. That looks quite nice. I think I'll do an orange chrome, number 10, in the Derwent watercolour pencil. And so I'm still in frame, and just stroke that colour in. And because this is, again, this is a natural way for my hand to move. I am left-handed, so it's the natural curve of my wrist. So again, there's no pressure at all on any of my joints, because I have to be really careful about that. I have to be extremely careful. I normally work upside down, I have to say, so that would be another natural curve for that book. So that's the only reason why I photocopy things, is because it's so easy to swizzle a piece of paper around than a really big, heavy book. But I've learned to get away with that, but that's dry as well. So now I've got this book. I think probably the Madder Carmine. I do like the Madder Carmine. And I think I'm going to put that one across there. And I can stroke into the corner to get a really nice kind of dark shadow under there if I wanted. There's an acorn, so let me have a look for an acorn colour. I'm going to go into a smaller brush, number 1 brush, and flicking through my colours. I think the bottom half is a nutter brown. So we've got a burnt umber, number 54, and this is the Derwent colour. Sorry, I've moved, haven't I? There. So if I just, I can't remember if the nut's darker. I've got a funny feeling the nut's darker. So we've got a real nice dark nut. And being grayscale, of course, it just lends itself to just stroking water, and if you don't have to do anything to it, you don't have to create anything else if you don't want to. I think I like that one. It's a lighter colour, and that's without actually doing anything, so it's a real nice book to work in, is this. I have to say, really enjoying it. Taking my time, just plodding along, but I am really enjoying it. So I'm going to go for Lagoon number 0810, and this is quite a dark colour. But I'm going to have a really nice, I think I want a nice, or do I want another purpley blue there? Let me have a look. Not sure. No, I'm not sure. So that's the only time I've washed my brush out and wasted that paint, so I'll be absolutely mortified now. So flicking through some more colours. There's a one called, there's a mauve. There's a dusky purple, which that's quite an unusual colour. And I think that would look quite nice under there. Yes, that's the colour that I want. Really careful. can just stroke this colour through. Now this is a Derwent Watercolour Ink Tense pigment, and you can't really mess about as well as you can with this. What did I say it was? Dusky Purple 030, because you do tend to not have as long to manipulate the colour as you would with the others. They're still lovely to work with, but you've just got to be that bit quicker. Probably a smaller brush would have been slightly better. You can have a nice low light there, shadow, and a bit of one up here. So I really wanted that to be very dark because that's under the shelf. I mean, you can do as much or as little as you want with this. I do quite like this way of working, I have to say. And I was just going to stroke that down there. Going back with a little tiny one. Oh, sorry, somebody shout. 2 seconds. Is the watercolour paper? No, it isn't watercolour paper. This is sketchbook paper. It's not children's and it's not very expensive, but it's something that will, about 140 to 160 £. It's something that will take, and I thought these would disintegrate. I really thought they would disintegrate, but they haven't. I've had this for about 6 years, 5-6 years now. But I'm not using a lot of water. If you put these on watercolour paper, the colour will sink in. And if you can see there with the shadow there, the pink, that is pure pencil scribbled, 3 or 4 layers, and it sits on top of this sketch paper. And I mean, I keep wetting this and it just keeps going dry. It works really well, but it just lends itself to some really nice colours. That's a little bit damper than normal, but if you're very careful, look on the other side. You can just see when I've just done that one, because I went over it twice, but there's nothing at all on there. That will dry. Does that make sense to everybody about how we do it? I was thinking about making the little book from start to finish, and again as a giveaway to give a section of pencils, because my pencils have been in the box for years and they've never been sharpened, and they still don't need sharpening. Obviously I don't do fine work with them, with a point, but I scribble the colours in squares and they've lasted me forever. So again, a bit tight Yorkshire lass. There's a little tiny book under there. I really wish I could get this kind of picture bigger, but I can't. But obviously that's going to be a bit dark, so that lagoon that I didn't use, I think that might look quite nice now. So the peacock blue. Oh no, there's the deep indigo, and I do like that one. So again, a deep indigo, little play. That's going to look really nice tucked away under there. Again, this is the Ink Tense pencil, so you can't really mess about too much, but there's hardly anything on there at all. 2 seconds. This is a smaller brush, obviously, and I can just create a quite nice effect if I wanted to tease that down to there, and then just give that another little bit of a dark low light under there. Well, I'm hoping that Derwent are going to sell them. I'm going to Derwent next month, and I'm going to give them this and say, come on, pull your finger out. because I think this would be, this is the 20th century travel book, colour book. To get 6,000 colours in here instantly at your fingertips with a damp brush is what the 21st century has been waiting for. I love the little tins, but I can't open them. They rattle. You've got this can be as big or as flat as you want. If it was A5 size, then it would sit into whichever note sketchbook you can make it to, whichever sketchbook you like. So I'm hoping Derwent will print. There's no reason why they couldn't actually put these colours on here and sell these. And of course the postage wouldn't be much because they're thin. That's my idea anyway. Yeah, well, it took me a long time. There's just short of 600 colours. And then I was watching when I bought I bought for my daughter, which she's taken away, the chameleon pens. Because you dilute them, you get at least 10 shades in each pen. And I suddenly thought, well, actually, I've got 10 shades. If you look there, there's almost 10 shades of colour, from the deepest to the palest. So if you times that by almost 6,000 colours, that's a bit yummy. So I'm hoping Derwent are going to take that on and they can have that. It was like making the palest. It was basically a gentleman called, I've got Colin Thompson in my head now. Oh, it's Colin somebody. Golly gumdrops. And he worked for Rexel pencil factory in the 80s, and he was he's still a wildlife artist. He lives in America, I think, now. And he said he got a sketchbook and he scribbled the squares, which gave me the idea. But he did it in the back of his sketchbook so he could leave the pencils at home. And then Peerless came out with the squares, and then Jenny Belly made a book, and then I made my book. So it was a combination of forgetting things and remembering things from the 80s. So that's how it came about. But I think because the Derwent pencils did it originally, it belongs to them. And I think they could come out with a fab one. You could buy one sheet of one with 6 colours on and then add to it, and then they can make books for you to put them in, and oh, it's just endless. But I think this is the 21st century travel sketchbook, and I would be so pleased if Derwent would put back on the map for pencils, because these watercolour pencils are wonderful and they're so versatile. They really are. I'm a Derwent nut, I have to say. I love other things as well, but I am a bit of a Derwent nut. And in here also, I have the Derwent Graphitint, which are wonderful. And again, I've got a 10 scale. And you can't get these shades really from the pencil because they're too strong. It's like putting Peerless in a crayon and using it. The Neocolor 2s, again, they're all in here. So when I get the 100, that's when there will be 6,000. I will have 100 Neocolor 2s, and they'll all be scribbled in squares, and then I'll have 10 shades from each Neocolor 2. And that's probably going to put another 1,000 in there as well. Yes, 100 times 10. So yeah, it's endless. But what I love is I've actually managed to put the pastels, because when you use a pastel, that becomes water-based as well. Inktense blocks, and these I've only got 2, 4, 6. I've only got 12, but these are Faber-Castell little crayons, little watercolor crayons. Sorry, I'm not showing them very well. But again, really gorgeous colours. And this is why I just touch the colour and colour with it. It's very, very rare that I kind of mess about and split them up. The only ones I don't use are the Graphitints. But here, this is the plastic here. So this probably is pencil. Oh, it's protected on the other side. This is this is Prismalo Sketch and Wash. So I've got 10, probably 10 scales of pencil that are very water soluble, and they're in here as well because I love those as well. So they're in here, so I could do a lovely pencil wash in some grayscale. The Derwents are Derwent Medium 4B, and the Sketch and Wash, I think that's from America, that one. Had it near me to look at. And I just get a pencil and smear a paintbrush over it, and if it runs, it runs. But I think there's the Derwent sketching pencils. I bought them for my daughter years ago. They've all got a little water brush, and if it's got a little brush on the pencil, that means it's water based. Well, it goes in my book. But the Near Colour 2s are in here. The Peerless are in here. On my early videos, I just flick through and mix everything up together. The Inktense blocks are in here. Again, you just wet, and not making everybody sick. The colours are vibrant. So, yeah, hopefully Derwent will have those out for Christmas. They should be easy to imprint this colour on a paper, I think. So back to, I'm going to leave that page, I think, if I just move that up slightly. Sorry about my waffle, I get obsessed with my little book. There's some other things going on. I can't think, that looks like a penknife. That looks like a Christmas tree. There'll be a yellow little highlight in there, so I could put that in now if I wanted. I could put that in now. And again, I'm using the gold number 3 Derwent watercolour pencil. But then, of course, if you think with your pencils, you can scribble 2 colours together, which is what Colin Dexter, no, I nearly said his name, Colin Dexter? Gee whiz. If you look up Rexel Pencils Company, he's on one of my YouTubes. I did mention him because obviously it's his idea. And put 2 colours together. You can put every combination of pencil together and then mix them together and you have another colour. So really, there's thousands of colours in here. And if you say that the 2 yellows we talked about earlier, the cadmium and the cool, the 2 alizarin crimson and cadmium red, cerulean blue and ultramarine blue, there's no colour on the planet you can't make, and that's just with these. But you have to do colour mixing, which I've quite liked, I've quite enjoyed. But when I'm poorly and I can't lift a paintbrush for long, Touch and Go is brilliant. In fact, I've just made the name up for it, Touch and Go. There we go, Touch and Go. Sorry about that, I just had a mad moment. So sorry about that waffle. Right, so I've got 6 pages. So if I crack on, I can get the 6 pages done, and then I can colour something else, and I'll use the Peerless, I think, because I do like those as well. Just kind of crease this corner. This is a bit of it because it's the first. If I show you, it's the first page. So probably what I would have done is, instead of bending it back, I should have split it, and then I wouldn't have had that spine crease there. But never mind. It is what it is. It hasn't damaged it really. I did tear the bottom of it yesterday, but hey ho. So if I pop that there, can everybody see that? Is everybody still okay with that? So I'll try to stop waffling. And get on with this. So that says The Merchant of Varnish, but it's that looks like it's a brush, so that would have to be a wooden colour. And I don't really want to put too much emphasis on this, but I do like to kind of, the raw sienna has struck out for me again, number 58, because I kind of want this brush to be like a shaving brush, but I just think now, I think that's a bucket, so I'm a bit confused now. It's a bucket spilt with spilling water. Duh. Never mind. I can go over it if I want. I've just realised it's a bucket. Sometimes it's better to just do the books. So I'm going to colour that book. I need a colour for that book. And I'm going to use... I like the sepia. I'm going to use a sepia. It's going to be very, very similar to the wood, but it'll morph into it, so that'll be fine. So I've got the largest rigger. I hope I'm in frame, and just going to tease some colour out, so you can see there is still a very light amount of colour. So I've gone from that dark all the way around to that pale with just a little bit of colour on the end and a drop of water in here. And I find that so easy to work with. And of course I can work backwards with that that shadow effect, and that's given me quite a nice highlight on there as well. The same with this one. As I said, I just have a bit of a crease on there. I hope everybody can see that. Am I still in frame? I hope I'm still in frame. Would be easy if I kind of twiddled it round, but never mind. And because I think that looks more like a little wood hut, really, doesn't it? So I'm going to leave that because it's right on the corner, and there's some... Oh, mind you, having said that, look, I might as well put that in. The purple's poking out there, so we're going to have purple curtains. Again, just gently stroking that little tiny bit of curtain, and by the time it's got to the bottom, it's the opposite of a highlight. It's kind of gone paler because the light's coming from the top. So that's quite nice. And then I can just go in very carefully with probably raw sienna again, number 58 of a Derwent pencil, and just stroke in that kind of stone that would naturally be there. I'm going to leave that alone, and I'm going to leave all that, and I'm going to do that book next there. So I'm trying to keep popping my glasses on so I can see what everybody's saying. I used to use a water brush with this. I went through them yesterday, didn't I? Yesterday, the day before. Just bear with me 2 seconds if I find my little bag of tricks. But I found that the Caran d'Ache one, the Caran d'Ache one was the driest, and the Derwent, there's 3 Derwents, and I say I've got kind of, because I've been playing with this for years, I've narrowed it down to 2. The other one is the Derwent number 1. That's number 3, and I find that too wet, and I'm not sure what's happened to that. I think I've squished it. So if that one's there, as I say, I haven't tidied it from yesterday yet. Oh, there's that one. What's that one? That's the number 1. I think this is the one. Oops. But again, I have problems. Yes, this is the one. This is not too bad. Oh, sorry, not in frame. This one is not too bad. This is the Derwent number 1. What's that one? And there's a 2. but if you can keep them quite dry, it's fine. But I've started working really fine now, but those are the best ones I found. And this Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2, again, it's very wet now, so I tend to dry them off and then I tend to use them. But for watercolouring, as I'm doing at the moment, but I think the best one is the number 1 Derwent, because it's the driest. These two are my faves. The other one is a really old one, and I don't even know where it is now. And I can't remember if it was a Pentel, but they've changed them, and they're a lot wetter because, of course, people want to use them. But yes, I used to just have a water brush and my little book, and a little sketchbook, an A6 sketchbook. But I've found this is drier and this lasts longer. And you don't waste any colour. You never wash any colour out. And it's rather strange, but this way cleans itself in exactly the same way. This is my water pot I keep dribbling into, which is clear as anything, and I've used several different colours. This is my water pot from yesterday. There's no waste of colour, which again, as a tight Yorkshire lass, I love the fact that all the colour I am using is going on my page. It's not going anywhere else. But I think it's because it's a combination. It's just evolved into this. It wasn't like this in the beginning. It was a necessity of me carrying a suitcase round full of colours, and my husband going mad because I had more weight in art materials than I did in clothes. So I'm going to number 51, olive green. So did that make sense? Is everybody happy with that? I take a water pot with me, yes, and I take this is an unused, I had to say, a hospital one. The other one I used to use 20 years ago was the tube, little sample pots they used to give you from the hospital or the doctors, because they are never going to leak. So if you get one, and I'm terrible for, I used to go 3 or 4 times a year. So I never remember to take it back the following year. So I always end up with hundreds of these pots. But I used the tube one, and I used to have a paintbrush, and the Caran d'Ache I used to hold in my hand, and I used to hold the water pot, and I used to just dip into the water and touch the end of the Caran d'Ache and colour. And I did that around Germany and Europe 25 years ago. And again, then I remembered about this video and I scratched them in here, and this book's been going around with me. So I didn't take the crayons with the tin. The little Neocolor 2s used to be in a little tin before they brought all the colours out. So everything's evolved into this morphed into this book. So what did I say? I wanted the olive green. Yes, I did. So the olive green number 51, going back to our little colours here, because I want to finish this and then I can get on with something else and do a different page. Now the bigger designs don't really lend themselves to this. This is for fine small stuff. This is for a little wash or a little kind of what colour. When I get home, this is the sketch I drew, I'm going to do it into a proper watercolour, or this is a doodle, or this is, as now is very popular, colouring in. This works perfectly colouring in. You are just picking a colour and you are just colouring in, and again there's nothing there at all. It's dry as a bone, which is brilliant. I'm dunking every time I'm dunking into the water. This is why I've progressed into a large pot now. Dunking into there, scraping that off, and then twisting it on a damp baby wipe. I used to do it onto kitchen roll, but it's too dry. That dries this out. You do need, but this is with the rigger. If you have a smaller brush, you will learn to work as wet or as dry as you want, if that makes sense. Did that make sense? Hope it did. So I'm going to Carmine 65, really kind of into this carmine colour. I think it's because it's an old book colour, I think. It reminds me of some of the faded old book colours. And again, if you tease that across, you're going to have a nice highlight. And again, this is the darkest side here. So we want to tease this backwards. And then in theory, again, all I'm doing is, I hope I'm not making anybody sick. All I'm doing is just reactivating a drop of that and kind of stroking that into there. And I say, it's just the fact I love the fact I have all these colours at my fingertips. And I just flick a page and think I want a green. Which green do I want? So I keep saying I'm going to make another one. So I will make one from start to finish. And then if people tell me what products they've got, I will try and get them into this book somewhere or the other. I've had to kind of adopt some of them and put them in on plastic, like the Hydrus. Oops, I haven't tried the Hydrus. You see, that's because I'm not concentrating. I haven't tried the Hydrus on paper. The Hydrus are on plastic. But as long as you don't use the other side, when you shut the book, the blue on one side will be the blue on the other. And so when you peel it open, you can't mix your colours over, really. I have done a little bit to some extent, but not too much. So I'm going to have a really nice low light on that. So I can pop that there. And I can pop that under there. And bring that down. And then that should make a really nice strong shadow down there. And again, bring that up to the other side. Should have done it with probably a bit bigger brush. And that's a little bit wetter than I normally work, but it still works. You know, this is a colour book. So I've got that lovely shadow there and a bit of a highlight. It's a bit brighter on the colour. It looks slightly nicer. It's a more subtle kind of shadow down there. And then probably there could be, actually I'm going to do another one on the other side, because that that piece of wood there is going to lend itself to, obviously, another bit there. And then we can perhaps maybe just, that was just maybe a little bit too much. Just, so that's just given that a little bit nice as well. So is everybody okay with that? Well, welcome everybody to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream for Ustream and YouTube. If I remember to press record, which I have this time, I've been known not to. So I'm still flicking in my little book. So I quite like those colours, actually. I do like those colours. That is probably a little bit brighter than it is. And then they've got the value of the dowels. So obviously that's all to do with DIY and doing things. So I did have one green on there, but I could do with a nice blue. I like this colour. This is Indigo number 36, a Derwent watercolour pencil, and I've not dunked my paintbrush in the water, so that's dried slightly, but never mind, we can reactivate it because this is the Derwent watercolour pencils and they are a little bit more forgiving. So I hope you're all finding this interesting. My crazy little book of colours. And but you can build some quite nice shades up. But I like the fact that, yes, I am kind of reworking this. But if this was ordinary watercolour, or if it was wet, you couldn't touch it. You'd have to go do another few books and come back in 5 minutes when it had dried. But it's a little bit damper than I normally work, but not much more. And I do keep repeating myself, don't I? And I do hope I'm in frame as well. Let me see if I can just make that colour that slightly better. Just have a look at this one. It just seems to be slightly off. Sorry about that. Oh goodness me, that's not good, is it? I hope that's better. Does that look a bit better? Because it looked a bit skewy from there. I hope that's a bit better. So we've got that one, and then we've got 2, 4. We've got 5 to do. So if I crack on a little bit, we'll get going. So kind of like the fact that that's going to be a bit of a brown thing there. I think we'll have a bit of a dark. Yes, we'll have a burnt umber number 54 of the Derwent watercolour pencils, and I'm just going to stroke that into there. I think this is going to be a bit of a dark one. Sorry, the little dog's puddling around. This is the Heinz 57 Terrier, who nobody knows how old he is, bless him. And he just wanders around, deaf as a post, almost blind as a bat, and he just wanders around doing his own thing. Doing his own thing. He fits in quite well around here because he's potty. And I'm not quite sure what's happened to the little monster. The monster has gone away. So I quite like that one as well, but I'm going to play with that. Is everybody okay? Does that look as if it's a little bit better? It still looks like a focus, and I don't know why. Just bear with me 2 seconds. I'm not liking that at all. I don't like that at all. And I've lost oh, that's slightly better. I hope that's better. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Right, so I've finished that. I could use those, but I'm going to leave that for later. So I'm just going to scootle across, if that's a word. And we've got 5 to do, so we've got probably 30 books. So I've got those really nice colours there. I haven't really done a yellow one for a while, so I'm going to have a number 6, a deep cadmium. And again, I'm just kind of stroking the colour down. This looks a little bit bright, but I can tone it down a little bit. Sorry about the little dog, he's having a wander. Is everybody okay with everything? Can everybody see what I'm doing? I still don't think I'm blurred. I feel blurred, but I'd rather not look blurred if I can help it. So just teasing that colour. And I've been doing this for an hour or so, and my hand does not hurt at all. So I love that. Now, when I do Inktober, I'm not quite sure I'm going to be the same, but we'll try. So we've got a rose madder there. So again, I haven't played with that for a little while, so a bit of a quick look on that one. No, I'm going back to the madder carmine because I have to say I do like a little bit of continuity with the book pages. I think the other ones will be fine, but I would like to do this justice, these book pages, because they're kind of a bit of an obsession of mine. So I kind of want to get them a bit right. Most of the things doesn't really bother me, but I've loved this image for a long time, and it's very like my own, so I'm a bit obsessive about it, I have to say. Whereas the other things in the colour books, you could just make them up and it'd be fine. I'm just giving that a little bit more of I want some really strong colour because I want that to be quite dark. And oh, that's Matisse. Now I should have used that beautiful deep purple because I love Matisse blue. So like a deep purpley blue. And teals, they were Matisse's colours as well. So there's a little bit of a high and a low light on there. You want me to take that out of there, don't you, Dexter? That's what you want, isn't it, love? Hmm? Is that what you want? You want me to take that bag? Somebody's put a bag, a shopping bag, in the dog bed. Right, so that looks quite a bright one, actually. So I'm going to have a look at the Prussian blue. Let's have a look at Prussian blue. Could be a bit bright, but it doesn't matter because I can always go over it with a darker blue and then create some more lights. I mean, I'm only using one colour for highlights and lowlights. There's no reason why you can't do 3 or 4 colours. And if you still have some colour in there, you can keep going. I can see lots of faces. I don't know what's happening in there. So that's another one that's done. It doesn't take long if you don't faff about and talk too much. That's the opposite way, that book. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to twizzle the page very carefully sideways. And I'm going to do that one. And I'm going to do that one. What did we say? Number 28 is... I can't read that. Oh, it's number 28, something blue. And again, a bit of a pretend play, just in case I don't like it. But because of the grayscale, again, you don't even have to do what I'm doing. You could just flat colour down. And then the grayscale obviously has done all the work for you, so that's quite nice as well. Sorry, he's just rearranging his bed. If anybody's got any questions, pop them in caps. I keep trying to pop my glasses on so I can see. Oh, welcome, Suzanne. It's the Colin Thompson Fantastique. I think it's pronounced that. Colin Thompson colouring in book. I'll do a quick flick at the end. So I'm just trying to finish some of these pages because I've kind of been on with this for a little bit now. So this one is Blue Violet Lake number 27, and I don't know if I want to put two together, but I decided I would do. Just got to be a little bit careful not to go around the edges, but this is the other thing this helps with. Oh look, that's May Grey. There's May Grey Expectations. So these are obviously all artists. Duh, yep. That's why there's a tube of paint. And I quite like that little bit of a highlight I've got on there. So I'm going to probably leave that, I think. Just put that down there. The Two Gentlemen of Vermeer. The Moon and Six Pens. The Dali with the fringe on top. This guy's got such a sense of humour. Oh, well done, Suzanne. She says, I'm ordering it now. Yeah, I have to say, I was a bit obsessed because there's this. I think it's probably about 8 years, maybe 10, when we had those big laptops, and there was Colin Thompson brought out puzzles, but there was also laptop covers, and you could get this image. And I've really tried hard not to look at the colours. Don't excuse me, because I really wanted to make my own colours up. Probably when I finish this, I could get the jigsaws as well and really go for it. But that's my idea. So that was Scarlet Lake number 12 in the Derwent watercolour pencils. But it looks completely different. Whoops, slipped. It looks completely different. Excuse me, a quick slurp. If you use it from the pencil. But using paper palettes is fab. You can mix thousands of colours with the 72 Derwent pencils, and the pigments are fab. Oh, I thought it was a man. Do you think it's a girl? Well, I'll show you what it should look like. Because I used to have this. This is my old laptop cover. And I've been trying not to look at this page. No, I've looked at it now. I think it's a man. A bit ugly for a girl. And I've just realised I didn't realise that was an artist thing either. So that's the page we're doing. And this was one of these laptop cover. Was it a laptop cover? So that's what it was. So I do quite like that. That's got a little bit of a natural highlight. So I haven't got a green in there. I might do the... I do like the cedar green, I have to say. Number 50, cedar green is quite a nice, what I would call traditional book cover. So I'm going to possibly put that there. I think I'll put that there. I think that's a leg. There is a leg sticking out there. So I can very quickly go to the number 16, Flesh Pink, and I can colour that leg in. And I've got some orange on there, but I might just get away with that. So that's finished now. And we can just get his nose. I think that must be a man. He's got a beard. It's not a girl. It's a hairy-armed man. Actually, I know what it is. It's an artist. Because he's got one of those artist t-shirts on. So he's an artist. That's what he is. And they're normally in blue. So we're going to give him a blue shirt. Spectrum Blue number 32. 32, I think. Bit of a quick flick, just in case we really hate it. No, we don't. Just realised, of course, that blue is the blue of the hammock. But never mind. And then we're going to give him some indigo jeans. There seems to be a lot of blue on there, but of course we do have a Matisse there, don't we? So is everybody okay with that? Oh, hi Sarah, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Welcome everybody, if I've missed you, welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is the Colin Thompson colouring in book, and I've got 4 sections left, so it's nearly done. Nearly done. We're just looking at this little page which says, sorry, I keep calling it a page, it's a little section, and it seems to have artists about, so we were thinking that's the artist. So I'm going to make that book a green book. Oh, I can't, it's called Burnt Umber. I can't very well do that book green, so I'm going to do this. I've got loaded with green now, so we'll do that there. And there's a little dog underneath, and I don't know what he's doing, bless him. So you'll have to bear with me. We're just going to ploddle along. Oh, that's Moby Van Dyke there. So that should have been a brown as well, but it's not. So I think that's a bit bright for this kind of thing, but seeing as it's all artists, my husband's come downstairs, bless him. So that means a cup of tea. We're typically Yorkshire tea people. We like our tea. I love the smell of coffee, but I can't drink it. It makes me poorly. And I'm a lot better without it, so needs must. So we can kind of drop in a little bit more. Like, if possible, this is a little bit big, this brush for this bit, but I'm going to bring in some nice kind of colours into there. Is everybody okay with that? There's a paintbrush and there's the artist palette. The dowly with the fringe on top is going to be what colour? Oh, we're going to have to end on... We haven't got a red in there, have we? Oh, we have a red. I'm going to have to end with the carmine. The carmine. And I just have... So we'll end with this one. So I haven't seemed to have gone into the Derwent ink 10s as much on this section. So just teasing that colour down to there. And then reactivating quite a strong colour to give a really dark, deep colour down there. And I think it's a combination of the grayscale and the way that the water is released and reactivating the colour, that it makes this kind of work really well, and it's really easy. I quite like using my imagination with the colours, but I don't want to be too... I don't want it to be hard on my hands. I don't want to have to think about it too much. I don't want to have to load things everywhere. And this kind of just lends itself to just chilling out. So I quite like that. Who was it that said love coffee? Oh, Suzanne says love coffee. I love the smell of coffee. I was very good today. Didn't have any coffee today. I was very good. But a slurp of cold tea. Oh, we've got burnt umber under here, look, haven't we? So, or you have a chocolate colour there, or we have number 54, the Derwent colour pencil, and we have a burnt umber. So that's going in there. And that's a little bit wetter than I normally work, but I'm rushing a little bit now. but never mind, it'll be fine. So what else have we got going on in there now? So and because I've done that, there's nothing on there at all, so I can put that straight on there, which is fab. Right, am I still in frame? Hope I'm in frame. Right, so my little pot of water now is going down to next to nothing. So it's about a tablespoon of water, which I can cope with, and I've still got some in there. So that's working well as well. As I say, I think I've just got that down to the perfect way of working. It's taken a good few years and I keep messing about, but that's quite nice. Just having a bit of a flick through for colours. I think I'm going to do this. I do like this Madder Carmine. So we're going to have the Madder Carmine here, I think. Start off with a bit of a ready book. And sometimes it's difficult to talk. You either talk a complete lot of rubbish which has nothing to do with what you're doing, or you go off on a rabbit trail, as Dee Dee would say. I say rabbit dropping. I can't think of that without thinking of my cousin, bless her. When she was a little girl, the story goes that there were three children. An older girl, 5 or 6, and a little boy, 2 years younger, and then another little girl, 18 months or so. And of course I wasn't born then because I'm 18 years younger, so 18 months younger. So on the moors, where's Julia? Julia's eating choc chops. Oh, right, okay then. 10 minutes later thinking, we didn't bring any chocolate. She was eating sheep droppings. Some bunny droppings. And she was eating choc drops. I think they were bunny droppings, bless her. And she's still with us. But I think that's a wonderful story. Aren't children delightful? It just reminds me when I think of bunny droppings, I think of sheep droppings. Bunny droppings. Dear, 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 dear. It doesn't take long before we get to the the bottom of the barrel, does it? I can't remember what made me say that. What reminded me of that? Oh, the rabbit trail. Yeah, the rabbit droppings. Gosh. Right, so I've got quite a nice little highlight on that, so I quite like that then. Yeah, so I just realised that everybody's listening to me. Whoops. You forget. You could say all sorts on here. You really forget what you're doing. It just reminded me of it. But hey ho. She's probably going to murder me now. I've done a brown and I don't want a brown, so that was silly. So, paintbrush brown. Slide that down there. Have a paintbrush there, look. Oh, but I wanted a really nice highlight on that paintbrush. And I could do this, couldn't I? So if I start on one side and I keep going, the dampness from the paintbrush keeps activating the paint to a natural way of painting. So what that does is it works in the opposite way as the Camellia pens. So you can start dark at one side, and I quite like that. And then, actually I shouldn't have done that because I could have just, but I'm teasing that colour, and this is Derwent watercolour pencil, which you can reactivate. I've got quite a nice highlight on that pencil now. The Ida Sanction. The Ida Sanction, I don't remember that. So I hope it was okay. I've got 3 more panels to do, and then I can pop this away and we can do something else. So still going back to my nice deep greens, and I do like these greens, I have to say that. Probably because they remind me of old books. I have a lot of old books. And there's a Robin Hood there. So Robin Hood really should be green. So the Gulls of Navarone can be blue. And these obviously are got lots of creatures. I don't know why I've got lots of creatures, but we have lots of creatures here. So oh, and there's Stork's feet there, look, as well. So, and a real tiny dark colour on the top there, because that's going to be a lot darker. There's that little bit of highlight there. Robin Hood was going to be a dark green, but I'm probably going to just slip to the the leaf green 116 of the Derwent ink 10s, and you can tell straight away that's a lot darker colour. Having said that, it's a lot wetter than I normally work. I think the tissue needs yeah, I can tell that the baby white wants excuse my stomach, the baby white needs kind of squeezing out, because obviously all that water, yeah, a drop of water in there, so it just wants to be damp, this baby white. So that's quite good. Is everybody okay with that? I've got golden yellow 0230 of the ink 10s, Derwent ink 10s, at Swim Two Birds. Oh, no, that's lost on me, that one. But hey ho. So I'm thinking about stealing my daughter's bedroom since she's gone to uni, just so I can go somewhere quiet to stream, because but then of course there'll be puppies jumping about and all sorts, so maybe being in the hub of it is the proper thing to do. And of course hubby can bring me cups of tea. Is everybody all right with that? Oh, bye Sarah, thanks for dropping in, darling. Welcome to Everybody Bernoud's Designs. This is a live stream with live people, and a lot of me waffling and filling in books at the moment. I hate to think how many books I've done at the moment. Now that doesn't look like a book, so I'm going to do that. I might just do that a bit of a... I found a chocolate colour. Wow. This is back in the ink 10s again. Just thought I'd have a bit of an extra dabble in there. There's some gorgeous greens in the ink 10s pencils. Just got to be that little bit quicker because they dry and they're not as forgiving and as maneuverable as the Derwent watercolour pencils, which you can reactivate. So, but still not too bad. And of course the colours are beautiful, so you know, you just have to learn to just maybe play a little bit. Just kind of wanted a little bit nicer kind of highlight on that, really. But if it doesn't work out, you can just go over the top of it. Still not very wet, still just damp. Definitely not wet. As I said, there's some really gorgeous colours here. The Madder Brown is quite nice, 1920 in Derwent Inktense pencil, and a spare piece of paper. It's quite a nice dark. But that's the French Lieutenant's Woman. So I'm going to do that ultramarine, I think. I'm going to do the Magpie Who Came In From the Cold. We're going to do that one. And I've just realised that's pink, the same as the one above, but never mind. Started now, I've got to keep going because these are not as quite as forgiving as they're not quite as forgiving as Derwent watercolour pencils, but the colours are amazing. But I do like the watercolour pencils, but maybe this is because I use them like this. I couldn't use them any other way. I could not scribble with the pencil and activate it, because I can't do that. It's too hard on my hands, and this is a little bit wet, but I want to get some really rich tones under there, and so I'm hoping that would be good. Have we lost the puppy? Oh, is it feeding time at the zoo? Oh, you were under there all that time. Oh, bless. The little puppy was under there. He was under my chair all this time. Gosh, it's a good job I didn't move the chair. I'd have run over him. I thought it was strange he wasn't near me, because he's always near me. You can't get rid of him. I love him, but he's so naughty. He's just so naughty. He's just unbelievably naughty. He is just a bad puppy. But he looks gorgeous. He looks like butter wouldn't melt. But he is such a bad boy. So it's coming along. I've got 3 to go. And if I could find my... which I can't. Oh, no, I thought that was my hip, but it wasn't. Oh. Why do I put things down? Because I can never find it. Ever again. They disappear forever. No, it's gone. Sorry about that. Oh well, never mind. So it hasn't really buckled that. That's been the wettest I think I've done, that one. So you've got 3 more to go. Oh no, I've got 2. What did I say? The French Lieutenant's Woman. So we want almost, I think there is a French ultramarine. In the ink tense ones, these are really vibrant colours, these. There is a... I thought there was an ultramarine. There's a lagoon. I like that one. That's almost like French ultramarine. That's the wrong brush. Dash and dash. But I can't use that because it's definitely not big enough, and it won't activate the colour as much as I want it to. So I really want that to be quite dark. Now this is a little bit wetter because this is ink tense, and as I say, it's just not quite as forgiving. You've just got to be that little bit more careful with this one. So you can activate it a little bit across, but I have this here, and this is a little bit wetter. I'm just going to have to just carefully move to one side, because I'm concentrating, so it's gone quiet. Sorry about that. But I did want a really nice blue on there. That looks a lot bluer. It's a deepy purpley blue, is that actually, I think. And then I've got one there, so I'm going to have a look about and see. Cadmium orange in the ink tense. Just give that a little bit of a practice. Oh dear, sorry, puppy alert. Feeding time at the zoo. Last one in, demands his dinner first. So we'll have to see how that works, bless him. It's just so demanding. It's like having a toddler. Well, actually it isn't, because my girls were really good. But never mind. So that's quite nice, that ink tense colour. Just have a little bit more vibrancy about them than the other ones, and it does make a bit of a difference, I have to say. But there's some really nice colours and shades. Is everybody okay? I've just got 3 panels left, and then I'll pan out and I'll do a quick flick through. So they look a little bit bright, those, but when I pan out, hopefully when I zoom out and you can see the whole page, it'll look okay. So just bear with me 2 seconds. Quick slurp. I do hope I'm in focus as well, because there seems to be something wrong with that. I just don't think I'm in focus. I don't know why. And I've lost Sooty. I had Sooty, and Sooty was brilliant. I had a card. Hopefully that's better. I can't believe you could read it yesterday. You can't read it today. But never mind. Right. Oh, this has got a pumpkin on it, I think. So we've got a pumpkin. There's our little onion coming down the stairs. So we've got some toadstools and mushrooms. Oh, sorry, glasses on. I'll get rid of that. 3 panels, and then we can go on to something else. But I really wanted to get this finished. So we've got 20,000 leaks under the sea. So they probably will be there's some gorgeous greens, I have to say. I'm going to use Fern 1560 ink 10s, and that's going to just have to give me some nice green, almost leek colour, because it's LEE. Okay. I don't quite like that. That's got some nice shading to it. Deep Violet 0760. That looks quite nice as well. Or possibly a little bit pale, that one, but never mind. And I'm working a bit wetter than I was, so when I finish that I'm going to go back. I think I'll go back to the other colours. I don't think I'm really impressed with that one. In fact, I'm not really impressed. Oh, mind you, I suppose it matches that one. I don't think it'll matter once I've kind of brought out some of the shading into that one. I think that'll be okay. We need a bit of a shadow low light down there, and then bring that back into there. But you can play and build up colour, and still damp. Still hardly anything there. War and Peas. War and Peas. I think we'll have, oh, could possibly have a red. Nope, I'm going to go for, oh, I don't know, I quite like that colour. Sienna Gold looks quite nice. So I'll go for Sienna Gold. Again, just a quick check to make sure I'm not making a complete pig's ear of it. Sorry, there's going to be lots of grumping and chomping and. Have you come to tell me that you've had your tea? Have you? My bestest friend, are you, Alfie? Bestest friend, Alfie. If I put that down there, that might just work. So thanks for being with me today, everybody. I hope you found this interesting. I'm still flicking through the colours. I quite like this colour, which is a dusky purple, but I'm going to do this one here, I think. Oops. Oh no, I think that's a door. So I've made a bit of a mess of that, so let's put that there. And that there. I'm pretty sure this is not forgiving. No, if that was watercolour pencil that would come out, but it won't. I've just made a little mistake there, so never mind. I can do two things. I can try and work out what it is, or I can just cover it up as another book. And I quite like that to be dark, I think. So I'm just going to cover that over just till I decide what to do with that one. And let's have a look. I think we could have this colour. I'm trying to rush on so that I can kind of get on with this and then get on with something else. So I do like this, but even if you just have the 72 pencils, then you can squish them across and make 72 other colours. So you would have so many colours. But I might do that when I do the book. I shall make the book and I shall make some colours up of my own kind of thing. And once I start mixing pencils together, they won't activate until I add water to them. And so then that's going to give me some more colour variations. So that should be interesting as well. So I might start that next week, although I'm trying to sort out Inktober. And I want to do a live Inktober. That's what I'm going to try and do, is stream live. That's my aim. Oh gosh, knees. So that's what I was hoping to do. But I know I'm away for a few of them. I'm going to Destination Star Trek. Yay! I'll have to show this. Oh no, I just have to do this book because otherwise in fact there's a lot on there, isn't there? I'm going to do that one because it's down here. So I'm off camera. Bear with me 2 seconds. It's just saw this and like the colour. So it looks terrible, that, but I can show you how you can get away with that in a minute. And so that's indigo. I have to show this. Oh, it's a sheer. Can't find that now either. I seem to have lost everything. Ah, well, I found that. I found that, and now I need to find this. My daughter made me a card because I've always wanted to be a Bond girl. Of course, at my age now, but I'm as old as Bond. I am as the same age as Bond, 50. Well, I was 50-some. So she made me this card. Bearing in mind, she doesn't have Photoshop. So she morphed me onto, I don't know if I can see all that. Isn't that brilliant? She morphed me onto it. And my other daughter says, oh, I've got Facebook and I could have done that. But I just thought that was so sweet of her to do that for me. I thought it was really sweet of her. Oops, wrong way. Oops, scary. So she kind of morphed me onto there. And then she morphed me onto Star Trek. Which was fab. Oh, don't you love your girls? And that's hubby and I. Can't believe I'm showing a picture of me. That's the old witch. That's the old witch. That's the old witch. Gosh, old woman, can't believe it. Had to show that. But I love my little girls, bless her. The best thing about that wasn't the fact that I was stood behind Captain Kirk. It was, I've got little boobies. I've got a little figure. That was the best bit, but I thought that was really clever. And then she's just on photocopy paper. So I was dead impressed with that, bless her. She could have picked a slightly better picture, but the thing she wrote, I can't read it because it makes me cry. But she said, you've got your arms around Roger Moore, you're a Bond girl, you're the best Bond girl, best mother. I'm gonna cry. I've got Star Trek, and then she said, I've got hubby. So, bless her. Ah. But aren't children lovely? Bless them. And she hasn't got expensive face. What do we call it? Because my middle daughter said, "Oh, I've got Photoshop, and I could have done a better job." And I thought, yeah, but she's just done that. Off, just with very simple things. And I thought that was so clever, and so simple. But that's what she's like. And I'll just really quickly show you the monster. I keep talking about the monster. This is the monster. This is the monster. This is the bad puppy who will not leave me alone, and he's just so naughty. Here he is. He's the little one that doodles on the floor when I'm streaming live in front of me. The bad puppy. Oh, look, if I'm quick, look, I've got 2 more to do and then we've finished. Yay! Sorry about that rabbit dropping. Yeah, he's a cutie, but he's a rat bag. Is he under my feet? Yes, he's asleep under my feet. He's asleep under my feet. But he's totally not trained at all. He's a rat bag. Should he be doing this? He's doing it, but I'm cute. No, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be good. But the girls love him and he loves me. So he's spoilt rotten. All the animals are spoilt rotten in this family. And they're all crazy. So I just thought I'd share that. I wanted to show this. This is scary, this. I'm very jealous of Dee Dee because she looks like I look 30 years ago. So I'm really upset because she looks 30 years younger. Yes, it is. Well, yes, Lynn says, thank goodness Julie's not around to pick up the rabbit droppings. Chalk drops. Dewey eating chalk drops. Yes, Dewey eating chalk drops. Thank goodness she doesn't listen to me on YouTube. Ooh. And this is my little helper, look. The minute I get up, this is why my chair squeaks, because I can just about turn around. You should be getting your babies back soon. He's just a terror, is this one. He's just a terror. And the other little monster's with me now as well. I might send that to Dee Dee. Can we see that? She'll like that. They're both yawning at the same time. But he has such a wide mouth. That has to be a gob for England. That's a Yorkshire gob. But they're both yawning. That's the rescued old terrier cross thingy. But they're both yawning at the same time. Yes, they're all rescued. All completely loony. They are all completely loony. And that was my daughter's little, she plays in plasticine. But that's just so like the little puppy. And that's the lurcher. The little monster's name is Alfie, and he's cross-eyed as well. So he's cross-eyed. So when he's looking at you, he's like Clarence. So they're completely, absolutely lunatics. So I'm trying to think. Just trying to find the picture of him when he was a little diddy boy. But I can't find it. So again, a rabbit dropping trail. So if I carry on very quickly, I can finish this little bit and then you can crack on with something else. I want to do a different watercolour. I want to start watercolouring something else. So there's Alfie, that's the King Charles Spaniel. There's Gigi. We call her Gigi, Jiggles, Piggles, Pigs. She's the lurcher. And then we have Dexter, who is the cross terrier who's frightened of his own tail, bless him. They've all had very, very bad lives. It took a long time to sort them out. So if I just slide that up there really carefully, I'm going to go in there with that one. It's a bit bright, but there's going to be some really dark, I'm going to put some dark things down there. So I'm really desperate to get all these books coloured in, and then I can call this page finished. It has taken a while, but again, you know, if you were on your holidays and just chilling out, you wouldn't want it to be finished very quickly, would you? So the little puppy is always by my feet, but he's just a rat bag. Oh, that's lovely to have a fence. Well, we have a garden and they jump over the fence. The lurcher can go over a 6-foot fence with no trouble. And we've had them 10 years and we've never, just recently, the last couple of months, been able to let the little so-and-sos out because they just escape. They're just, because they've been badly treated, they just run away all the time. For at least 3 years, every Christmas Day, I was running down the street with my dressing gown and nightie, running to the next village, chasing Dexter, who was chasing lorries, chasing cars down the main road. Then realising I hadn't got my inhaler with me, I hadn't got my phone with me. So, yeah, we've had a lot of fun with them. They've just settled, and it's taken almost 10, 11 years. And she still steals food, just the lurcher, because they train them to hunt food and poach, and they lock them up for weeks on end and never let them out. So of course, as soon as they're out, they escape. So she's had a very bad life, and she's had a nose broken. She's face is beaten to death, basically. But hey ho. They've been a lot of work, and they will kill any animal that comes near them because she's been trained to kill. So that's been fun over the years, but it's quite damp, is that? You see, when you think you're just on your own colouring in, talking to yourself, everything comes out. So I'm going back to the larger brush because it's giving me some quite nice images. So I was on that one. I think that was the dark purpley colour, wasn't it? So no, it wasn't. I've made a mistake. I shall go to that one. That's indigo, but I'll go back up to there. Much to do about knitting. There we go. Much to do about knitting is going to be a purpley mauve colour. Now that is a little bit wet, but it can stand it just. That's because I wasn't concentrating. So I'm going to just go over that with, I shall just go over that one with the Lagoon colour, because I didn't like that. And my eldest daughter's just arrived. I don't know where she's gone. So, I was hoping my sorry about that, puddling in and out. I still think I've got one puppy next to me and one puppy under the chair. This is just a little bit big for there. I'm going to change so I don't lose it. So thanks for everybody stopping in and counting all these books. Lots and lots of books. And I would like a nice kind of, I think I want a nice bit of a shadow down there. I think. This Colin Thompson book is quite thick paper, so it's working very well with this way of working. And did I say that was Lagoon? Didn't I? Ah, there's some of the pencils I found. Look, the light wash, dark wash, medium wash. So they're all watercolour pencils. They're all pencils that are water soluble. That's the word I wanted. Water soluble pencils. So indigo number 36 has proved quite nice with these dark colours. So I've quite enjoyed using this one. And this is back in the day when watercolour pencils, which are just that little bit more forgiving than the ink tens for obvious reasons. And it looks strange when you're doing it like this, but when you see the whole thing together, it might be a little bit, it might look a bit better. So thanks everybody for popping in and out and putting up with all the chit chat. I think I've got a couple of books there that I've missed. The Red Pepper of Hamlin. So obviously he's got to be red, hasn't it? And I've got, don't have many red ones, but there is, and we've got back to the Madder Carmine again. Yeah, a bit of an obsession with this one, I think I have. But that's definitely a red pepper, so hey ho. The Peerless are a little bit strong for watercolouring. Just a tittle bit too strong. And I think because these are pencils, they are just that bit more forgiving. And that's why it works. But I will do another page where I completely just flick and use it as normal. And then you can see how that affects the, it's a bit wet that, but how that affects the paper. Because when it's a photocopy and you're just playing about, it's okay. But in a book, you've got to be sometimes, if you're a bit precious with it, a bit careful. I'm going to use the smaller brush for this. And I'm going to have probably again, this is where I sit and flick through because I just like looking at all these yummy colours. I'm going to go for this one actually. Oh, we haven't got an orange on there, but I'm going for hot red because I just feel I can just stand one of those. I've just realised that's a pumpkin. So that might be okay. And then obviously down there, that's made that quite nice. So I hope everybody's okay with that. Suzanne says, yeah, the peerless, they are fab, have to say. And again, normally I would flick through, I would just flick through and pick a colour and flick through and pick another colour. That's what I normally do. Pick a yellow, pick a green, and that's the other thing, is that you wouldn't get your peerless out and then you'd go get your Inktense out and get a green, and then you'd go get your Caran d'Ache Neo Colour 2s and get a blue, and then you'd go get your Gansai Tambi watercolours and put a red in there or a blue. Excuse me. So again, that's another reason that this book is quite unique, is, you know, there is a suitcase full of things here that you wouldn't always get them out. You would get one set out, play with that. You wouldn't have, you could not, well you could, but you'd have to have a desk completely surrounding you with every single piece of, in its natural state of colour. So the pencils are scribbled. These are made into puddles. The Kiyotaki Gansai Tambi watercolours. The Inktense are just that's just a practice. It's pure colour. It's watercolour out of a tube. There's pencils have been scribbled on squares. The peelers cut into squares, and these are the 2mm of the traditional watercolour pans. Took the colour out of the pan, cut 2mm off, stuck them in so they look like this. That's what's come out. That's pure colour. And then with a little plastic palette here, I can mix my own colours if I want. And the Hydrus, Dr. Martin's Hydrus, are here. So as long as that purple stays with that purple, and I mean these are fab. So you touch that and instantly you've got colour. That's gouache, Winsor Newton gouache. There's just hundreds and hundreds of colours. Sorry, I just gone for the... So I love my little fat book of colours. So I'm going to Derwent, as I say, in a few weeks' time, a couple of days' time, and we will see what they're going to bring out. I'm sure they will be excited, as I am. And of course they'll have all the pencils. Oh, thanks, Suzanne. They'll have all the pencils. And I'm hoping that obviously they can then put the colours in, and they can make them a lot neater than these as well. Oh, hi Sarah. Hi Dorothy. Hi Susan, and anybody else that I've missed. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Nearly at the end of this epic journey. We have 2 more sections to go before it's the end. Thank goodness. So I'm just trying to fill the books in, and then I'm going to play with something else than other colours, because I think it's time. I love this way of working, and I'll continue in this book with these colours, but I'm going to do the Hydrus in the in the other colours, and I'm going to do traditional watercolours as in the pans, and mixing my own colours, I'm going to do that one with the Imagimorphia, because that lends itself to it. I did that one and I really enjoyed working that way. And then the Peerless and the Hydrus I'm going to use in the oh, what did I call it? What did we call these? The Aviary. Because I've done one before and I love the way it worked. Again, that's really easy. 3 drops or 6 drops of colour from these bottles, and they're amazing. I'm going to try and get hold of some oh, excuse my stomach, I do apologise. Oh, I've just coloured the wrong colour there. I'm going to try and get hold of some, oh dear, what's my little book? Ecoline. I'm going to try and get hold of some Ecoline or Ecoline colours, so that I didn't want a brown there. I don't know why I put a brown there. I didn't want a brown there. I'm going to change that to indigo, number 36, Derwent watercolour pencils, Timothy and the carbon paper. Oh, well that's good because I'm just using carbon colour. And so that's the theory, and then that leaves me the other and the other thing I wanted to do was to photocopy a couple of Harry Potter book pictures from the Harry Potter colouring books and make my own, which I can't think I've got any left now. What do you call it? Gesso, clear gesso. Gesso the pages and then do acrylics and oil painting on paper. And I thought that would be kind of use. Do you mean, Suzanne, the paper on here? It's a sketchbook paper. Not a real children's cheapie, but not expensive. You want the colour to sit on top rather than kind of sink inside. Watercolour paper will, if you wet it, it'll just soak the colour in and you'll lose all your colour. So this kind of just sits on top and it works quite well. So I'm hoping I'm still in frame here. And I shall just finish these couple of books off and then I'll stop this video because it's been rather an epic journey today, this one. And that's cedar number 50, which is quite a nice, definitely a green book colour, I think. So thanks everybody for being with me, and I hope you've enjoyed the chit chat and lulled everybody to sleep. I'll just put my glasses on. I keep stopping to put my glasses on, that's what's wrong with it. So we've only got just a few books to go and then we've nearly finished. I think I might like the Deep Vermilion something, number 14, Derwent watercolour pencil. Now those two have got to be the same, so I nearly made a mistake then, so I'm just going to pop that there. And so I can I'm going to leave that actually because those two want to be the same, and that's a file box in a book and there's a little book behind there. So I'm actually going to leave those because they're a little bit more intricate than they look. So I shall just show everybody what we've done, and we'll stop this video because it's obviously a huge a huge video. And if I just do this, bear with me 2 seconds. If I do this, hopefully that's in frame. And can we see the whole book? So does that look okay? I seem to have got a bit of a, I don't want to make anybody sick. And my camera's obviously at a really funny angle. So there's a little bit of complication there. There's a suitcase and there's things. Let me just see if I can focus on some. I had something with words on it. It's gone now. Oh, let me see if I can get that better. So that's the finished first double spread. If everybody can see that. Oh, thanks guys. Thank you ever so much. It looks completely different when you see all the colours, because you get confused and you think, you know, have I got too many yellows? I've got too many blues. But when you see it as a whole, it actually looks, it doesn't look so bad. You don't have to panic. Sometimes I've kind of got a bit dark here, but I think when I put all the brown shelf in, which I was going to use this for continuity, I was going to use the burnt umber. Then I think, yeah, I'm quite pleased with it, I have to say. And then, of course, what I can now do is this, because this is the original laptop cover. Sorry, little puppies, I'm going to wander around. Laptop cover. And I was desperate not to look at these colours because I wanted to make my own. So yeah, I mean, I love these. These are just amazing. If I just pop this onto automatic focus, and if I can hold that up, it's just the most amazing thing. You just have to make sure that you get it, get it completely flat. See, these are my colours, I love that. So my colours are really different. But I love that, I really do. And of course, if I just do that really carefully, that's the original grayscale that we've just been playing with. And there's the man in the hammock with the big nose. Pretty sure that's a male artist. So I hope you all found that interesting. And I'm going to stop the recording, but stay with me, guys. Thanks for oh, thanks, Vicky. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to do another colouring, but something different for that. But that was quite an epic journey. Bit of an epic one, that I have to say. I'll do a quick flick, and then I'll stop the video. So it's the Colin Thompson colouring book, and I would call that A4. It's the size of photocopy paper, which is, did you say it's 8.5? Photocopy paper, oh gosh, is 8 by about 11 3/4, 11 1/2. And I photocopied the first page just to have a bit of a play. So that isn't my first attempt. And then I did it in brighter colours, which I didn't like as much. So that's the first double page spread. And then, of course, you can realise just how carried away we're going to have to be, because we've now got lots and lots of doors. And that's kind of Escher inspired. There's towers, more books, Japanese influence, more little tiny little worlds. Oh, thanks, Suzanne. Thank you, everybody. I'm glad everybody's found that a bit interesting. I seem to have got a little bit too much light on that. I have one soft light and one hard light. I think this is going to be quite fun. I haven't no idea what I'm going to do with it. Absolutely no idea. The sunflowers, the little worlds and the little tree houses. I think the grayscale helps though. I think a lot of people are scared of grayscale, but actually it really helps. This is going to be quite a real complicated. So much going on in here. On the video yesterday, I think I did a really detailed, flip through. But yeah, there's lots and lots going on. You'll have to forgive me, I've left it on autofocus because it's jumping about a bit. So there's, again, I'm not sure if my way of working will do these really big things. Perhaps they won't. But definitely for small, detailed, intricate little things, this system really works well. And it's neat and tidy, and it's handy. This paper is really thick though, it's really good quality, it's very thick. There's 8 pages of books, so I have another 2 to do. Another 3 double page spreads to do. Again, this big expanse, not sure how that will do. But I love the wood, I have to say, I'm a bit of a wood girl. That's fine, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, people to pop in and out. So I'm, and there's another books with the Christmas tree and lots of other things going on. It's so thick, you can't believe there's just one page. That's how thick it feels. And the musical instruments. Again, these are a little bit big, but I haven't decided how I'm going to tackle these yet. Probably will stay with my little book, purely because, and that's what I was going to show you earlier, is the jigsaws. So when I've painted those coloured in, I probably will get the jigsaws. I think they're pretty amazing. Apparently he's written 70 children's books. And so, sorry, let me just see if I can. Just bear with me 2 seconds, that's it. So he makes these worlds, and then he draws the worlds, and then he makes stories up about them. Sorry, 2 seconds, that should do it. Come on, camera, behave yourself. Behave yourself, camera. Nope, sorry, it's just not playing ball. Oh, sorry about that. I did the other one once. Is it because I bent it? Oh, sorry about that. It's just not wanting to focus on there. So I have to say, love the paper, love the book. Put that over there now. And I did wiggle the spine a little bit. I should have broken the end, and then it would have been flat. But the paper is so thick, it's lovely, and it's really easy to colour. So I'm so pleased you've all had enjoyed yourself watching me colour that Colin Thompson colouring in page. So I'm going to stop the video. Thank you for watching, guys. And oops, you see, I just spilt my water, and there's a tablespoon